welcome back to the channel today, guys. Now, I'm a little conflicted with today's episode of Spy X Family. Because on the one hand, it was a really fun episode. I had a really good time seeing Anya learning about Loid and Yor's professions. Their actual professions. Especially yours, because that little segment in the episode was hilarious to me. I was dying of laughter seeing Anya just watching the assassinations. Very fun. But on the other hand, I thought our episode today was going to cover something completely different. And really focus on one character, who actually did get introduced in this episode. Funny enough. So we'll get them next week. But yeah, it's just even on the official YouTube and Twitter and all that, they did a character video for this character. So I'm thinking, oh, we're getting that. But we didn't. But it is what it is. Because nevertheless, we had a very fun episode today. So let's just get into it and talk about Spy X Family, episode 8 today. Well, technically episode 20. But y'all knew what I mean. So our episode begins today with Henderson telling our gaggle of misfits that their next assignment is to research an occupation that they're interested in. You can interview your parents' place of work or go interview local shops or companies. It doesn't matter. Just write a report about it, ask them what they do, and come back to me with it. So what does our girl Anya do but naturally go home and ask her parents? So she starts with Yor, and she walks up to her and tells her that I was told to ask why you chose your job or how I can get into that job. I'm also supposed to watch you do your job too. And Yor just starts thinking kind of wild right here. She thinks about her assassination job as she says, "Please listen carefully, Miss Anya. At first I started this job so that I could take care of my brother. But now I'm very proud of it." Even the shopkeeper, who is a character we will meet at some point, was saying that this profession was similar to being in the army. And that it's very important because we lay down our lives for our country. And it's here she gets a call for her next job as we see that this person is truly a traitorous pig. And as they start heading to this job, Naruto running, of course, because that's obviously what assassins do, Yor starts explaining exactly what she does. Like, the shop will let me know how many enemies there are and how the security is laid out. I'll usually kill any enemy on sight, but I must not ever kill the wrong person. So studying the briefing documents is a must. There's absolutely nothing shameful about this work, so I can be confident. What makes this job worthwhile is that I truly feel like I'm cleaning up the filth of this country. When I think about all the lives that are being protected by me brutally murdering people, I feel extra strength flowing into every strike. What's essential in this job is honing my body and my technique to their limit. And guys, jokes aside, Yor's kind of a savage. How she just kind of swoops in right here and just takes everyone out. Like, this looks kind of wild, bro. As she says, since I'm dealing with other humans, the least I can do is put them out of their misery as painlessly as possible. And I always found it funny how she would always say that, I beg your pardon, but I'm gonna murder you now. As she just starts describing to Anya the way to murder someone. Like, what? Now, naturally, this is all in her head, of course, because Anya's reading her mind. And the look that Anya gives her in this scene just had me kind of dying as she says, you know, I think I'm going to go with Papa after all. I think he's a safer bet. And it's here we transition to her asking about Loid's work as he says that the psychiatry department at this hospital is my workplace. I've told him in advance that you're coming, but don't trouble anyone, alright? As you see that Anya's dressed as a little Sherlock Holmes. Clearly some miscommunication between the two. And as we get these questions going, we see that Loid puts in a hell of a lot of work, man, for this mission to try to blend in. As Anya asks him, first, why'd you choose this job? As Loid tells her that everyone gets a cold sometimes, right? I have one right now. But it's not just the body. The mind can go through that too. There are a lot of people who catch colds, but in their minds. I wanted to help people like that. There are still lots of veterans who are suffering even years after the war ended. A perfectly fake excuse. As we all know that the real reason is because, yeah, if Desmond Donovan gets sick, if I'm a doctor, I can go take care of him and get close to him. And this whole time, I think it's really funny that Anya's taking notes on both sides, like the fake doctor side and the spy side. And as they run into some of Loid's colleagues, they can't stop talking this man up. Like, it's kind of wild. They're like, oh, he does everything with such style. Like, your father's amazing, young lady. Like, yo, Loid is a finesser, dude. He can finesse people with ease. As Loid thinks to himself that it's always good to spread out my connections. It makes it easier to obtain intel and more connections. Again, a finesser. As, of course, Anya starts writing everything he's thinking and saying down, and Loid just looks at her like, why in the world do you keep taking notes at the most random times? What's up with you, kid? But it's here Anya says that, I want to see you actually in action. So Loid actually takes her to the consultation room, and as they walk in, she's just like, where's the brain modification machine? Isn't this where you scramble people's brains? Not too far off from actual psychiatry. But as Anya starts looking around the room, Loid actually gets mad and tells her not to touch anything because there's actually a secret passageway behind this bookshelf just in case there's an emergency related to the mission. And I know he's a super secret spy, guys, but you would think that the people in this hospital would know about a secret passageway. Like, damn, you guys ever take that secret passageway behind Jenkins' office? It's crazy, man. Like what? Okay. But it's here that Loid actually gets a knock on his door from a fellow agent. So he actually leaves Anya there. And he gives her one of the worst toys I think I've ever seen in my life to play with while she's waiting. This shit is a litter box for a cat, bro. He gave her a litter box. Like, here you go, have fun. And as he leaves, he tells Anya that, I'll be right back. Remember, don't touch anything. And after he leaves, Anya just gets a look like, oh, Papa, I'm gonna touch everything. And as Loid leaves the office and meets with his fellow agent, we get our first glimpse of Fiona in the anime, who is an extremely fun character that we will see a lot of next week. And it's not a spoiler to say her name because she's literally plastered everywhere today. Regarding Spy X Family. Like, that's why I thought it was going to be a completely different episode. As she asked Loid, was that girl Anya Forger? She seems quite attached to you. As Loid tells her that she's unpredictable, so she's a real handful. And it's here we transition back to Anya, who, like any kid who would learn about a secret entrance, pulls the lever and reveals the secret entrance and goes in. Like, who wouldn't pull that? I would pull that. And I'm not a child. I would pull the lever. And as Anya's exploring the secret passage, she actually overhears these old kooks talking about ghosts, saying how anyone who goes on about ghosts and such just suffers from mythomania. And as Anya's up there, she actually gets stuck and starts making some truly unsettling noises. As the guys below are like, what is that? Is that a baby crying? It's a ghost! It's true. The stories about a baby who died due to medical malpractice were true. And I'm sitting here like, yo, we got a little real all of a sudden. Spy X Family, what's up with that? But as Anya actually makes her way back to the room she was in, she hears that Loid's coming back. She's like, oh, damn, I gotta make it look like I've been here the whole time. So she takes the sandbox and the toys and does what she does best. And as Loid comes back in, he says, all right, let's have a look at what you created. You see, this gives us some insight into the deeper parts of a patient's psyche. It looks like your mind is full of utter chaos. I've never seen anything like this before. Why are there so many scattered and half-buried dolls? Unbelievable. I don't know what to make of this, but it's clearly a disaster. As Loid starts thinking to himself like, you know, she was dragged out of the orphanage by an adult she doesn't know. Of course she'd be under a lot of stress like this. But to think the darkness within her heart had grown this much. As he tells her that, why don't we just go home for today, you know? Let's stop by the bookstore and get you that new volume of Spy Wars 2 on the way home. You're clearly going through some stuff right now. And as they get back home, I love that Yor says, did you get to see Loid's amazing concussive recovery method? I completely forgot about that. He punched and kicked his patients with such might. It was fantastic to witness. But it's here we transition to the school because it's time to give our report. As Anya starts giving hers and she says that Papa is a specialist in mental health. A very good one. Papa works very hard every day by not sleeping or taking stomach medicine so that his patients can have some piece of cake. In order to build trust with his targets, he talks to them assistantly and carefully. Papa is very desperate to make connections. He golfs at his workplace and creates shady channels. Oh, and he apparently hits his patients every once in a while. And when I saw Henderson's face right here, I was dying laughing when I was watching the episode. This shit is so funny to me. And as we transition to Loid, he's just like, man, I just got a bad feeling all of a sudden. As the narrator says that Loid was summoned to the school a few days later. So they can be like, Forger, what the hell did you teach your daughter? Now, the second half of our episode is far more straightforward. As Anya actually sees in an episode of Bundman that he's able to decipher a secret code. So she actually asks Yor to make a secret code. And she starts handing it out to everyone. She starts handing it out to Frankie, to Becky, to Damien. All the while saying, no, I can't tell you. It's a top secret though. As we transition to Anya later that night thinking to herself like, I can't wait to see who actually goes to the meeting point. As we see in her mind how she envisions it. Super spy Anya, she says, well done. You actually cracked my code. I'm impressed. But we actually transition to Frankie, who's looking over this code later that day as he says, I can see that it's some kind of code, but what the hell is it? As he says, this is nice handwriting. Could this be from a woman? And then all of a sudden he thinks, could this be a love letter? Is it my time? Is my time finally here? As he just envisions this beautiful, seductive woman giving this letter to Anya saying, could you give this to him for me? I'd be oh so grateful. This is a top secret romance. As we see that on the day of the meeting, Frankie's just sitting there with a bouquet of roses in a suit. So souped up and excited. Like, Frankie, what are you doing? As we see that Anya overslept and isn't even going to the meeting point. So our boy's just standing out there alone. And that's how our episode ends. Like, they do Frankie so dirty. Some woman out there needs to give our boy Frankie a bone, man. He's so lonely. But man, we had a very fun episode today, you know? It wasn't what I thought it would be, but it was still fun. Spy X Family is just always fun each week. And that's all you can really ask for, you know? If it makes you smile or makes you laugh, it's a good series, you know? So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, because I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed my review, too. If it makes you guys even a little bit happy or smile, then it was all worth doing. But let me know what you thought of the episode down below, you know? Not a super eventful episode, but again, a fun one. But until next time, guys, I hope you guys have a great day, week, month, and year. And I'm very excited for next week of Spy X Family. I think it will genuinely be a great episode. So until then, guys, I'll see you next time. Deuces.